So far so good. I'm gonna start a sketch on my, let's say I start a sketch on my front plane.
You care if I turn off the light up there?
Oh no, I can
Okay.
see.
Thank you.
Is that?
Yeah,
That's
a
good.
lot better. Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna start a sketch. So I have my front plane. So either if I click on it, like left click on it once, this shortcut shows up and I can start a sketch. Will take me normal to that front plane. Again, talking about fully defining sketches, right? So right now I'm underdefined, even though I had nothing. I'm gonna start with a circle. Let's do coincident with the center. Use smart dimension. Let's do 5 inches. Fully defined sketch. So far so good. Close dialog. Let's do, again, I'm just gonna do the same example. But, so I'm gonna do, let's do blind. So I mean, it's just an extruded box, right? I'm gonna start a sketch on this face. If I select it, it turns blue. Start a sketch. So let's say I want to create a cut and I want to, so I'm going to do convert entities and trim entities in the same. So if I want to redraw this circle again, right? I mean, there's 2 ways I can do this, right? I can go, there's 3 ways. I can start.
What did you extrude this?
It doesn't, it doesn't matter. You can do 1.5. If I start a circle right in the center, if I want it to be coincident with the other circle, there's different ways I can do this. I can dimension it to be the same dimension, right? Or I can delete that. I can add a relation between the 2. I can do tangent, right? Does that make sense so far? Or I can do, or SOLIDWORKS is smart enough to know that if I start a circle in the center and get close to it and actually touch it, I'm on it, but again, I'm not fully defined. It's going to say, if I smart dimension that, it's going to say 5, but it's not fully defined because I have not given it a dimension. Does that make sense? So if I go to smart dimension, it's going to say 5, but it's waiting to be fully defined. Or I can just do, if I delete that, I start a sketch. If I just select that face and I hit convert entities, it's going to automatically convert that sketch for me. And it's going to be fully defined. Because there's
2 circles become 1.
Well, that second circle is, I can do whatever I want with it. So far it's just a sketch. It's a 2D sketch. The only thing that's related between the two is diameter. Right? The overall size. Because right now if I exit my sketch and I go ahead and I go change that, my first sketch from 5 inches to 3, the other one is going to be changed to 3 too. Because it's basically taking that and looking at the first sketch, wherever that value is, it's replicated in the second one. That's what convert does. So I'm going to delete that. So I'm just going to select, let's delete it for now. Let's say I want to create an extruded cut up here. Say it's some kind of a gear. I'm creating the teeth. I'm going to, let's say I want to start a center rectangle. Coincident with that arc. So I can do, but I want my sketch to follow exactly the path of that circle. I don't want it to overhang. I don't want any outlines. So what I can do here, I can convert that arc again. So now I'm using it. So entities to convert, it's my first edge. I'm gonna click OK. So now I have two sketches. If SOLIDWORKS is smart enough to know if I delete these, right? If I delete that, I still have the middle one. It's gonna basically, you delete that entity until it stops at a line or at a point, right? It's a continuous arc until something stops it. Are you guys following so far? Convert, and right, I mean here I can, if I trim this, it's only gonna trim that. If I trim that, it's gonna trim to the next point. SOLIDWORKS is smart enough to know when to stop. Or I mean, you can do whatever you want. I can just hold it down and convert whatever I want, everything. Right, so I have a closed sketch, I don't need these two lines. So that's where trim becomes helpful. We're gonna use trim quite a bit.
So now if you were to extrude cut that, it would cut off the complete top with no faces?
Yeah, so if I do features, extrude cut.
So if you're in a sketch and convert an entity, it'll basically create an outline of what's
Whatever entity I want to convert. Right now, let's say I start reference geometry, I want a plane that's 1 inch away, or let's do 2 inches away, right? I'm gonna start a sketch on that plane. But I want to utilize this geometry. I don't want to rebuild it again, right? It's already fully defined. I spent time building that. All I need to do is I can select that face and convert it. It's fully defined. It's just 10 or 1 inch away. Does that make sense? Like if I spent a lot of time, I mean, with more complex geometry. Also, if let's say I exit sketch, I'm gonna hide the plane itself. I have my sketch visible. If I have, just gonna do a reference plane for my top plane, it's 5 inches. Gonna start a sketch. I'm gonna take this, convert. Perpendicular. Sometimes if it's an angle, it lets you do it depending on the sketch.
Can you show how you converted it to the plane that's 2 inches out in front? I tried it and I wasn't able to do it.
So